This is going to be an important weekend for the Canadian Football League's Toronto Argonauts. The team will play its home opener on Sunday evening at BMO Field against their arch-rival Hamilton Tiger Cats. And equally important, the club will unfurl its 2022 Grey Cup Championship banner, which this Hamiltonian will respectfully applaud from my seat while wearing my Ticat jersey. This season marks a major milestone for the Argos. The team was founded in 1873. That makes them the oldest professional sports team anywhere on this continent still using its original name. The Double Blue are 150 years old this year. Who better to discuss all this than the most valuable player of last year's Grey Cup Championship? Here's linebacker Henoc Muamba, whom we welcome to TVO. It's great to meet you.
Great to meet you.
I've seen you play a lot over the years, but I've never shaken your hand, so I was happy to do that today.
I've seen you a lot on TV as well. I'm so glad to be here, Steve.
Well, thank you. We are going to start with that enormous thing on your finger. Okay, Sheldon, can I get a close-up on this, please? This is what you get when you win the Grey Cup, eh? Look at that beautiful thing. Now, tell me the story behind that ring.
Oh, man, there's so many things that are, we felt like it tells a story about the season, all the guys in the locker room, and it was an amazing year with a lot of ups, some downs as well, but everything is literally on there.
Okay, let's push your hand down like this so we can feature the front. Okay, so there's the football with the oars. This is the tribute to the rowing club, which the Argonauts originally were.
That's right.
Okay, now one side of it has got what on it?
So one side of it, right here, you'll see you got the year. Obviously, we did it. We got the, CN Tower, the skyline of Toronto.
Beautiful.
And we said, hey, I was on the design committee and said, let's put in some diamonds in there. So we put some diamonds on the CN Tower as well, the design committee. We got some stars here that symbolize the amount of wins we had in Toronto as well. And then on the other side, what we decided to do was we have each player's name, their number, and we have the BMO field over there with all the banners of all the championships that we've won over the years. And it's been amazing. And inside we have a quote and a saying that we've been talking about, throughout the season. It basically says, three-strand cord is not easily broken. And we have one that wraps all the way around. It's pretty unique, as well as the final score, 24-23, against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So a lot to talk about on there. And like I said, it tells the story of the season last year.
I know it's priceless, but how much is it actually if you wanted to buy it?
Priceless. I don't know if I'd ever put it on the market. I don't know if anyone in the locker room would.
Well, can I show you, or let me put it this way, can I remind you of what I suspect was the most memorable play of your entire life?
Remind me.
Here we go. Sheldon, if you would. Clip, please. Last year's Grey Cup game.
First and 10. Zach Collaros. Bombers trailing now. Over the middle. Intercepted Argos. Henoc Muamba has it. Muamba with the pick. Argos with the lead and the ball inside the Winnipeg 45.
Now, that happened with just over 3 minutes left to go in the game, which in the CFL still a lot of time, but it was a huge play. And I want to know what you were thinking as you saw the ball leave the quarterback's hand.
Listen, to be honest with you, Steve, I've been playing for some time now, and there's a lot of things that come naturally to me. And what people don't realize or recognize, or we don't talk often about it, in the second quarter, I had an opportunity to impact the game as well, and I made a mistake, and I dropped the ball. And I always tell people that interception doesn't come without the drop ball. And so, thankfully, I have some great guys around me, some great coaches who were encouraging me, and the experience that I have, I was able to kind of be mentally tough in that moment, in that situation, which I often preach about. And, I was able to kind of stay focused and actually even get a higher level of focus, and was reading quarterback's eyes, and he led me right to the play, and I was able to kind of jump up and,
Hang on.
and make
You're
the interception.
reading the quarterback's eyes.
Yeah.
You're 30 yards away from him.
That's right.
You're
that's
seeing
right.
his eyes?
You got to look at the helmet, you look at the eyes, and then you kind of feel what's around you. And again, 11 years of doing this, Steve, so it comes a little bit easier after a while.
Now, I said at the beginning, this must be the most memorable play of your life, but I shouldn't assume. Was it?
You're absolutely right, Steve. I mean, there's no other play that I can think of over the course of my career. And I feel like, if I've been around for so long, I feel like I've been making some plays. But that 100% is absolutely the most memorable, but to me, definitely the most impressive as well.
Well, there were still 3.5 minutes to play, so it was anybody's game when you intercepted that pass, so it was huge. Your team lined up for a field goal, which would have given you a 4-point lead, which meant the other guys would need a touchdown, not just a field goal to win. And here's what happened. Sheldon, roll it, please.
This is the biggest one to make it a 4-point lead. That's blocked! Blocked! The Bombers on the chase. Brandon Alexander has it. And it remains a 1-point lead, Argos.
My question is, how badly did you want to kill kicker Boris Beatty after he missed that kick?
No, not bad at all, and that's the point of this, right? I think you learn so much life lessons when you play the game of football, especially at the stage that we're playing it at. You learn about the empathetic aspect of the game, right? I wasn't perfect. I was awarded 2 trophies after that game, and it was amazing. I made a great play in the game, but I wasn't perfect as well, and so he could also be pointing at some certain plays where he could say, hey, look, Henoc, you could have done better. And a lot of people can do the same as well, but we choose to stick by one another. We became a team. We became really one as the season progressed. And at that point and at that stage, the only thing that mattered to all of us on that field was to win the Grey Cup. And we rallied together. We supported one another, encouraged one another, and we went out there and we decided to be mentally tough, and we were able to pull it off.
I think, in fairness to Boris, I think he got 4 of 6 through the upright. So he had a better than average day.
That's right.
And that wasn't the craziest play in the last 2 minutes of the game. This was the craziest play in the last 2 minutes of the game. Here are the Winnipeg Blue Bombers getting ready to kick the winning points to win the Grey Cup. Sheldon, what happens next?
Academic, if he makes it, Winnipeg will take the lead. No! Partially blocked as well. It rolls down. A block, and then a block. And a no yards flag coming out as well.
Now, you've been playing football a long time. Have you ever played a game where you saw a block and a block in the last couple of minutes like that?
Negative. I've never experienced anything like it. I mean, I've always wanted to be a part of a team that wins a championship. And 11 years, I never got the opportunity to do so. And for it to happen the way that it did, I mean, you couldn't write it any better way.
Where were you when that kick was blocked?
I was actually right in front of the gentleman who blocked it, Robbie Smith, and he blocks it, and I see the ball being blocked, and it goes in the air, and I can feel it. So I'm just following the ball now and understanding that, hey, the clock is ticking, and in the next few seconds, it's gonna turn 0, and we win the game. So everything was I was trying to process everything, and it's registering. We actually won the Grey Cup, so it was an amazing moment.
I want to show you what I think is still one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in sports. And if this is a Ticats fan talking. There's you. You are holding not 1, but 2 trophies for most valuable player and most valuable Canadian in the game. You have your hand, your left arm sort of covering your eyes. You are on one knee. And I want to know what you're thinking.
Man, I'm filled with emotions, Steve. I'm filled with emotions. I can't believe this has happened. And I'm just mentioned to you, Steve, all I've ever wanted was to just be a part of a team that wins a championship, right? And contribute as much as possible. And for me to be able to, impact the game the way that I did, it blew my mind. And so at that very moment, when you see me with my head down and I get announced and that I won those 2 awards, I was like, this can't be real. Is this real life? Like, somebody pinched me. And to be honest with you, Steve, one of the main things that was going through my mind was just the people that really supported me throughout the course of my career, namely my wife, who's been there from the start. People don't realize how much it takes for us as athletes to be able to do what we do. But I thought about all the teammates that I've had over the course of my career, the coaches, you name it, my family that supported me, and I was just overwhelmed with emotions. And like I said, I still get goosebumps when I talk about it till this day.
We should let people know who aren't big football fans that at a Grey Cup game, they not only give out a trophy for the most valuable player, but because that player is almost always an American, they also give out a trophy for the best Canadian on the field.
Right.
Do you know, you won them both.
That's right.
Do you know how many times that's happened in Grey Cup history?
Just one time before that.
Isn't that amazing? You're just the second player to have done that.
I'm humbled.
In 109 years.
Extremely humbled and honored.
You did mention, Henoc, that you have waited a long time for this championship. And can I do a little pop quiz with you here?
Oh, let me hear it.
You've played on a lot of different teams.
Yep.
Can you name every team you've played for?
I definitely can. All right, let's start it. So I got drafted by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in 2011. Played there for 3 years. It was in Winnipeg. Then I went to the NFL. I played for Indianapolis for a couple and came back for about a few months in Montreal. Then I went back to the NFL. I played for the Dallas Cowboys. Came back to Canada and I was in Saskatchewan, Montreal, and finally came home to the Toronto Argonauts.
That very good. Yes, you got all. You got
Did
all
I
that
get it right?
You did. I was following along. You did get it all right. But when your career started, I cannot imagine that you thought it would take that kind of circuitous path to a championship. So why did you not, frankly, why did you not give up?
Man, that's such an amazing question, Steve. But so I learned and I grew so much over the course of my career. And one of the things that I always wanted to do was challenge myself to become better. And being drafted in the CFL in 2011, I was drafted first overall. And all of my coaches, I mean, there's a decent amount of pressure that comes with that from the coaches, the trainers, I mean, your teammates and the media. And so I wanted to live up to the expectations and also really exceed them. And so with that, I always wanted to better myself on a week in and day in, and as well as really year-in basis. And the coaches, really saw things in me that even at the time I never really saw. And so I wanted to make them, right with what they were seeing inside of me. And so I continued to push myself. And one of the things, there were ups and downs over the course of my career, but what kept me going were the people that were around me. I often talk about, your potential is connected with the company that you keep. And so I'm very cautious with who I keep around me. And so the people that were around me really have been supportive, encouraging. I talked about my wife, but I have amazing friends and family members that supported and encouraged me all the way through. And, I started with the end in mind. And with the great mentors that I had, I set myself up with a purpose, and I kept going. And I often say, the purpose that you want to set for yourself, Steve, has to be greater than yourself, right? If you set a purpose that is just about you, you might go a certain distance or somewhere, but when you have a purpose that's greater than yourself and you're thinking about, you want to do something that's for somebody else, which is what we did last year. I played a game that we just talked about 11 years, and I wanted to win for sure, but there were multiple guys on my team that I really wanted to win it for, and I feel like that helped me.
That's so interesting because I remember doing an on-field interview with Pinball Clemens after the Argonauts won the Grey Cup. You may have to help me with the year here. It was in Ottawa, maybe 2004, something like that. And Pinball said, you need to have a team where the guys want to win it as much or more for the guy who sits beside them in the locker room or plays beside them on the line as they do for themselves. How hard is it to get there? Because come on, let's face it, when you play this game, the tendency is to want to blame somebody else if you get scored on or if something screws up.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to me, really, Steve, football is a direct representation of what life really is, right? The people that are around us, it's easy to point the finger at the people that are around us. It's very easy to do so. But when you are a part of a team that really gets together and that becomes a family like we did last year, you feel the same pain of the person that's next to you. And so when you do have that same purpose and same mindset in mind, you grow faster. And there's a famous African saying, right? A proverb that talks about, if you want to go far, go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Right. And that's what we did. We tagged on and we rallied together and were able to go the distance.
Well, since you mentioned Africa, let's talk a bit about your background, because you're unlike, I think, any other CFL player I've ever encountered. Where are you born?
Born in the Congo, in the heart of Africa.
And when did you come to grow up in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada?
Man, I was super young when we left. My parents, and I have two brothers. I'm the second of three boys. And my amazing, loving parents, decided to take a leap of faith and start afresh and start anew. And so we moved to Canada, and people often forget that we lived in Montreal first before we settled in Ontario. And, we speak French. My first language was French. And so we lived in Montreal, spent some time there, and then finally settled into Mississauga after, a few stops in between. And, Mississauga really was the city that raised me.
How did you get hooked on football?
Really, I want to say random, but I talk often about the people that are around me, and those are the people that I trusted, that I loved, that I leaned on, and they kind of suggested it to me. Really, I was in high school, really late for the people at my level, but they suggested it to me. I loved basketball, played basketball. I thought I was going to be in the NBA, Steve, and so until God, vertically challenged me, of course.
What, you're like 6'1"?
Just 6 feet flat.
6 flat, okay.
And so, in grade 10, I was a decent basketball player, Steve. I was decent. And in grade 10, my coaches said, hey, Henoc, you should try football. You should really try it. And I said, football? One, I didn't understand the game. I didn't understand the rules. And I didn't want anything to do with the contact because I wanted to play basketball. And if you know anything about basketball, Steve,
they don't hit as much as football.
They're a little soft. Let's be real. I don't want any basketball guys or ladies to come after me, but it's a different mindset on the basketball court. And so I didn't want to be on the football field, but I took the leap of faith, and the rest is history.
You are 34 years old.
That's right.
Which is, you don't mind my putting it this way, that's old for a football player to still be playing.
It's ancient.
How are your knees? How are your shoulders? How is everything?
It's a good question. I mean, last number of years, you always got to just take care of your body. Take care of you talk about your knees, your shoulders, and all of that. You want to take care of it as time goes on, and the more you commit. I spend a little bit more time than the younger guys that are in the locker room after practices to just take care of the body, whether it's ice tubs and rehab and massages, chiros, and all of that. I try to do as much as I can.
It's working. You look great.
Thank you so much, Steve.
You played university football at St. FX.
That's right.
In the Maritimes. I think you are the all-time tackles leader in St. FX history.
That's right.
Still.
That's right.
So again, it goes back to how, because I worry about you when I watch you play. I'm thinking, here's a guy who's 34 years old. I don't know how many concussions you've had. How many have you had?
The one that was mild.
Okay. Well, there's no such thing as a mild concussion.
Well, I was tested the following day and I was clear to play.
Okay. But anyway, it's just, I mean, you punish yourself so much when you play this game. And you almost retired in the off season, didn't you?
That's right. I had to think about it.
So why'd you decide to come back?
Man, I still love the game. I love the game, but I love the guys that are around me, and I love the culture that we're building in the locker room. And to be able to be a part of a team that does it back to back, doing it one time is special, but twice is something out of this world.
At BMO Field on Sunday night, when they have the ceremony and the Grey Cup banner gets unfurled before the game starts, how do you think you're going to feel at that moment?
You know what, Steve? We have a mindset of we know what we've accomplished, we're happy with what's happened, but we're trying to do more. And so we're trying to leave the last year to last year, and this is going to be kind of our, hey, we acknowledge what we've done, but now it's on to bigger and better things. And so we're on a quest for another one.
I get that, but you're not going to allow yourself the luxury of sort of looking back and thinking, man, that was fabulous last year.
You know what? I feel like we've been doing that. We've been doing that. We had the whole offseason to kind of do that. We recently had the ring ceremony as well, when we were, given the ring and it was presented to us. And I think that was our day. That was our time together as a team to kind of look back again one last time, sort of, to be really proud of what we've done. And so, like I said, in the offseason, we're all separated and we're still able to reminisce and call each other and talk about it. But this was the first time that we were all sitting together and just thinking about last year, obviously seeing the memorabilia that's going to be here forever, but also some of the film and the game that happened, the game that we won last year.
You've got a lot of American teammates, obviously,
Absolutely.
who, when they go to a U.S. college program, they do not dream of emerging from that program to play for the Toronto Argonauts. In fact, the fact is, most of them have never heard of the Toronto Argonauts. So I wonder if you could let us in on some of how do you think they feel as a piece of a chain that has lasted 150 years? Do they get the significance of that?
maybe not if you're a rookie and you're a young guy, you know, your head's spinning and there's a lot happening. You're just worried about making a team and you want to stick around, you want to learn the playbook and all of that. But there's a bunch of guys in the locker room that understand the history, you know, and the people that came before us and how much of an honor it is to don the double blue and you know, where we're headed. And so we're just trying to etch ourselves in history as well and you know, do something special.
Like, do they get that this is the team where Doug Flutie played and Joe Theismann played and
it comes up.
Royal
It comes
Copeland?
up.
It goes back.
It comes up every once in a while, and you know, some guys are surprised, and then you know, once they finally learn about the history, they're surprised. But absolutely, it's something special to be around, and I think you know, our coaching staff and front office does a really good job of honoring the past while still trying to build for the future.
Gotcha. I'm going to ask you one last question, Henoc, and that is, do you know where the Grey Cup game is going to be played this year in November?
Yes, I do know, actually.
Where is it going to be played?
In a city that I don't love too much. I know you're from there, Steve, but in Hamilton.
The Grey Cup game is in Hamilton this year. That is right. Now, could you make a commitment to me right here and now tonight that when I go to the Grey Cup in November, I think it's on Sunday the 19th,
Yep.
that I will not be having to look at your sorry ass on that field again, and that maybe I can watch the Ticats play and win a cup in Hamilton for the first time in Hamilton since 1972?
I'm sorry, I can't make that commitment to you, Steve.
Gosh.
Sorry about that, man.
And here, I thought we were getting along so well. Well, if it can't be the Ticats, I hope it's you guys again, because last year's game was just so terrific, so exciting, and I felt so good for you. So thanks for coming into TVO tonight and visiting us. And a little bit of good luck to you and yours this year.
Thank you so much, Steve. It was my pleasure.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is made possible through generous philanthropic contributions from viewers like you. Thank you for supporting TVO's journalism.